Hi guys, thanks for tuning in again. This is Whatever You Say Man, and well, why don't we just jump into things. So in the last video we were taking a look, we started out with Burstcoin. We were looking at support and resistance. We drew some lines on our chart to indicate points where the price historically has turned around. And today we're going to take a look at how the lines we drew stood up to the time that has passed. So looking at things here, well, we'll zoom in a bit. When we drew those lines in, we were approximately here in the charts. That was on the 13th. So we'll move forward a little bit more. 13th. On the 13th, we went back right back to the beginning of the chart, drew in some support lines with these big thick gray lines, and we also drew in a few short-term lines to help us get an idea of where the price might be headed on the in the short term. So we're going to see what happened with all of that right now. So when we left last time, we were around here. As you can see, I've done a bit of scribbling since last time, but right now what we're concerned about is how the lines that we drew last time stood up to the last couple of weeks. So we can see here that it did struggle to break through this line here at about 159, 160, and once it did break through, it broke through considerably, going right up to our next line, which we had at 200-ish, 206, 205, and was pushed back down right away. The point where it turned around here, I did go ahead and draw in a new line. It's hopefully you see that well. It's right here, a little thinner. I'll thicken that up right now so that we can get a better view of it. This line right here, where it bounced originally, did make it through, got rejected at our previous support line here, bounced back up again, and right now is sitting on this area right here in between 173 and 180. We'll say we'll even go up to here, 183. Since we do have a line here, we could move it up just a little bit. We'll say 181. We'll thicken that up a bit too so we can see it a little better. So we can see that we've got the price moving in between the short-term lines here around 174. Well, we could even drop this a little bit. We'll say 171 and 181. That's 10 Satoshi difference, and we're talking about a price under 200 Satoshis. So that's I'm not going to do the math, but it's more than 5% profit every time you go. If you buy at 171, sell at 181, you still get a decent profit, and you could do that a few times in here. Probably once or twice a day. That's a pretty good way to accumulate some coins if you want to constantly be looking at your charts. Or you could just go and once a day make a purchase, make a sale, and do the same the next day. It's still a pretty decent return each and every day that you could do. But today we're going to focus on how the charting that we did last time is holding up. We can see here that there was a couple of pretty big dumps. The first one turned around here, the second turned around here, and that's where I decided to put another line. This line here could become pretty important, given that we had two major sell-offs that failed to break this level here. So I'm actually going to make it even more remarkable than that, just to make sure that I remember to take a look at that in the future. Now I would expect us to probably revisit this line around 150 relatively soon, sooner rather than later even. Sorry about that. Been kind of sick lately. One of the reasons for the delay between videos. My apologies. So we can see that burst is respecting the lines that we drew quite well, and the price is doing quite well also. So it's pretty clear looking, if we scroll out a bit, it's pretty clear that we might be looking at a severe drop soon. I don't find that at all worrisome. We went up quite a bit here, retried here, ended up at 207, pretty much where we are, well, where we hit a few days ago. But in between, massive dump. Price dropped down to below 100. A lot of people started buying around this area here. This time frame right here is where Burst Nation was launched, and where a few of the people involved with Burst Nation really started doing a lot of work to promote the coin and get things off the ground. There was previous efforts put in, obviously. These aren't just simple pump and dump scenarios. There has been work done on the coin for the past couple of years, but it was suffering when it hit this point. A lot of people were losing faith in the coin, but the right people, seems, had faith in the coin and decided to do what they could to make sure that it succeeded. So we're seeing a lot of growth right now, but this growth, in my opinion, is going a little too fast. We're gonna have to see the price retrace lower a couple of times at least. We may well stay above 100 for quite some time. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on the 100 Satoshi level. If we dip below 100 Satoshis, I will probably be buying whatever I can, unless it looks like we're going significantly lower. If we do end up back in the 65 range, I would suggest that people start buying there, and if the price drops back down to these historical lows here, 25, even 12 Satoshis, I would be investing quite a bit in accumulating burst coins in these levels, and holding them for as long as it takes, because the price will be going back up. For now though, I would say 150, 160 looks pretty strong. 125 looks very strong. There was a lot of price action around the 110 to 135 level that lasted for a while here, and again here. This is a significant turnaround here. The price could easily have dropped down to 100 again, but it didn't. It kept going up. So I'm pretty confident about 150 to 165, and even more confident about 125. And like I said, if we drop below 100, I'll be buying quite a few coins. You can be sure of that. Very short term though. Let's reduce the time frame a bit. I don't like looking at altcoin charts that go below 2-hour candles, for the simple reason that it's mostly noise. What I mean by that is just movements up and down that don't have necessarily all that much significance on what's going on with the price in the space of, say, one day. We can see here that between, well, for the day of the 21st to the 22nd, we do have movement from 169 down to 158, back up to 169. Somebody who was holding here and was watching their charts too closely or looking at the very short time frames may well have been scared off here at the 158, and I could see people selling there and saying, oh my god, I'm going to lose all my money, and then it goes right back up to where it was before. So these very small time frame charts, they can be handy if you're margin trading and you just want to scalp a few coins here and there, just doing really quick trades, you know, buy it here just to sell it here immediately after. Many people do that. There's good money to be made doing that, but it does require quite a bit of your attention. If we go even lower to the 15-minute time frame, we can see that on the 24th to the 25th, we've got a similar scenario here. Somebody bought at 184. Did that person hang on to their coins when it hit 170? Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Depends on how confident they are in what the coin's doing right now. I bet they were happy though when it went back up to 183. But again, and this is in the same day, another drop immediately to 174, back up to 180, and then a dip down to 168. This probably scared a few people, but then it went back right back up to 181, even higher, peaking at 183. And again, this is all in the space of a day, and just to make things fun before the day ends, it decides to go from 182 down to 170 in within 45 minutes. Sorry. Apologies for the coughing, people. It's either suffer the coughing or wait longer, and personally I'm sick of waiting right now, so I'm going to try and get through this. So that pretty much sums up what Burst has been doing with the lines that we drew. Now, we did also touch on what we're expecting to happen next. I'm thinking 150, and I'll be watching very closely to see where we go from there. The price could very easily move back up past 200. So keep an eye out on the 150 level and each of these levels subsequently going lower in price. So 150, 125, 100. The fact that these are round numbers is not coincidence. We'll get into psychology a bit more later on, but basically traders like round numbers. There's a reason people sell when, you know, for example, right here, when it hit 200, people said, oh wow, 200, and dropped. They started dropping the coins, selling them off because it hit 200, because 200's a nice number. They could have sold those coins at 230, but once you get around these round number figures, you're going to start seeing people say, oh, that's a nice price, I'm going to sell it, because we're human beings and we like things that are easy to calculate. One of many reasons, of course. And it's not the first time it's done this sell-off around 200, right? Those are lines that we drew from points in history. It did it earlier, well, late last year as well. And if we zoom out even further, that level at around 200, let's see here, we've got it turning around at 200 here, coming up and retesting it a couple of times, poking through and getting pushed back down. This is an important level. There's a reason it's on the chart, and it could very well prove to be a solid resistance on our next climb up, which looks like it may be starting right now. But again, this could easily break through these levels here. So keep an eye out on the 150 level, especially for the next few days. And if we do break through 150, watch what we're going to be doing around these levels slightly lower. That pretty much sums up what I wanted to look at with Burst coin. There were a couple of other coins that we took a look at as well. So we'll start with Hunter coin. I'll just let this load here. Sorry about the delay. I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but my laptop is working overtime right now. Okay, so Hunter Coin. We did draw ourselves some support and resistance lines with Hunter Coin as well, and they seem to have been holding up quite well. So let's see here. Last time we talked, the date was the 13th. We'll just scooch this over here to end it at the 13th. We'll zoom in a bit. Oh, what's this date here? No, we don't want the 24th. We want the 13th. So this is pretty much what Hunter Coin looked like last time around. We haven't come up to retest this area yet, but as you can see, we may be picking up steam right now in that direction. Again, this is speaking from a week ago, just going over the lines that we drew in then. We do have some lower lines drawn in, representing historical low points in these dips here. Those may become important soon enough, but for now we, by all appearances, are headed in the right direction. So we'll zoom ahead to where we are today. So as we can see from the 13th right here, we did a quick little tiny dip, imperceptible to most, and shot up to 5,400-ish from where we were on the 13th at around 36. That's great profits. Bit of a dip. We tried again here to poke through that, get to that same level, but it was pushed down pretty quickly, and now it's at a point where we can get those we spoke a couple of weeks ago. This right now at all. We do have a line here at 31.79 that we had drawn in, and we have bounced off of that. We'll probably try it again, and we might even go down to the next one around 2,200, 2,100. I'm not too worried about that because I'm pretty sure that this coin's going to be picking up fairly soon, and when it does, I'm expecting more moves like this, these great moves here where there's plenty of profit to make. Right now we're in an area like this, which is a buy zone. You know, it's the whole point to trading is to buy low and sell high, right? So this guy here who bought at 1,000, if he managed to sell up here at 11,000, made some pretty serious profits. So we're gonna try to pull off the same maneuver by buying in the low points. That's the whole purpose to having these lines here. You know, you wait until it hits these lines that it hit previously in its history, and you buy a bit up. If it breaks through that line, gets to the next one down, buy a bit more. Just to illustrate why, if we take the current-ish price of, well, we'll be generous, we'll call it 3,500. Next step down, we'll just say 2,500 for the sake of argument here, and we'll imagine that the next level down is at 1,500. If you bought 1,000 coins here, 1,000 coins 25, and 1,000 coins at 15, your average buy price is going to be considerably lower than if you had just bought here and held on to it. What that does for you is it lowers your buy price to a point where, well, if we take the median between 35, 25 and 15, we end up with a median price of approximately 2,500 satoshis. So when it bounces back up, as soon as it passes 2,500 satoshis, you're in profit. Yes, you did buy some at 35, but you bought just as many at 25 and just as many at 15. So the average of all your buy prices is the 25. And once it passes that, you're in profit. So you can make, quite a bit of profit by just grabbing it up as it goes down, according to your budget, of course. If your budget is low, then maybe grab the minimum amount of coins possible per trade. If you're looking at a coin like Hunter, I would say try to stick with the 1% rule. No more than 1% in each trade of your total balance, or your tradable balance, I guess. So we'll say you have $5, put 5 cents on it, put 5 cents on it here, put 5 cents on it here. If it goes back up here, you're going to be in much more profit because your average is here and not here. This example up here may be a bit extreme, but it does illustrate the point that making your average buy price as low as possible is going to make your trades as profitable as possible. Of course, this can backfire on you. Coins can die. It happens all the time. Coins that lose their value consistently over time, and or some sort of event happens that renders the coin basically worthless. It does happen frequently enough for it to be something that you need to concern yourself with when you're trading altcoins, no matter what the coin is. But like I was saying with Hunter coin, looking at the charts here, we're definitely in an upward trend right now with Hunter coin. So I'm not worried at all about the price taking a bit of a dip here. If we get down below 1,000, but at the same time, I might decide to pick up a bit more around the 500 level. Depends on what I've got going in my balance, what I can afford to put on it, and that's a decision I'll have to come to when that time comes. Just like any of you will have to do the same. Always consider what you have to risk and how much risk there is. But for the upside, which is quite high, and if we go back a bit further, the upside is quite considerable. Looking at this long term, there's a lot of upward potential to this coin. This level here, we did retest it recently and came right back down, which means we can come up and retest that again anytime soon. It could take another year, and if it does, in these smaller time frames, you'll want to accumulate as much as you can by selling when it's high and buying when it's low, basing those decisions on the resistance and support lines that you have drawn in. So right now, for someone who's thinking strictly of accumulation, there is a fair amount of coin that can be accumulated. Looking here, the price is going between 31.50 and 34.50. That's decent profit. And here again, going between 34 and 37 or 38. Right now we just hit a bit of a drop, so we're going to be establishing some sort of new level most likely around here soon, and I'll be watching to see what price areas that level ends up setting itself in, and I'll be trying to trade that as much as possible. Sorry, just one moment. Gonna have to get this